You're just handsome as hell. I know, dude. We all see it.
I love your new album, Oz.
Thank you.
It kicks ass.
Thank you,
I
man.
love it.
Right now, I have on my podcast a red carpet host and celebrity networker, CEO of Men of Action Mentoring. He's a retired captain in the Air Force. He also hosts different charity events for things like the Foster Friday Foundation and other charitable events such as Babes in Toyland. And he has his own podcast. Michael Sartain.
Hey, what's going on, man? That's awesome. We're doing 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yes, we're doing 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's get it going. Awesome. Man. What are the questions?
All right. First, tell me about your journey. How did you get started before you were a red carpet host and a celebrity networker? I know at one point you worked in a strip club for some time.
Yeah, so after I got out of college, I couldn't find a job, so I ended up working as a DJ at a strip club, and then I ended up becoming a manager, and then I joined the military sometime after 9/11. But while I was in the military, I was still going out all the time. Like I was still, I was an MC at a nightclub for a short time in San Antonio, and then one in Dallas called Purgatory. I was there for a little bit, and then what happened was when I got out of the military, I went to Vegas, and I remember I loved the nightlife in Vegas, but like it was different, not like, you know, Saturday night on stage with Tiesto, but like Tuesday night at Pure with just the locals. I just loved that, man. There's something about it was just very cool to me. I just knew it was something I wanted to be a part of. I just liked the energy. I liked the fact that everybody there it was like you're in it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like when you come visit Vegas, there's this like there's this thing about it when you leave that I just missed, and I wanted to be a part of it. So once I got to know a lot of those people who worked in the industry, I just became friends with them, and one thing led to another. I ended up hosting a bikini competition 2014, 2015, 2016 at Rehab, and then Rehab, which is the pool over at Hard Rock. And then from there, a couple of things opened up for me. I started hosting the Babes in Toyland carpet. That was 2015. I hosted the first time I hosted the Maxim party was October 2015. And then after that was Paradise Challenge, which would have been September 2016 was the first time I did that. And that's a destination photo shoot with like hundreds and hundreds of girls in that one. And then, yeah, man, just one thing led to another. And then, you know, I'd say the Ignite parties were pretty big. And it was a combination of a couple of things. I would be a red carpet host. I would bring a crew to film. And I would be the MC. I would be the MC, and then I would also recruit, right? So I would recruit girls to come to these events. So I kind of have a thing where I don't like to go to a party that I can't bring 60 girls to. So that was kind of like where I started from that whole situation. And it was on and off. It took about 10 years to get to that point.
Nice. 10 years, and now you're kicking total ass.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I just feel old and beat up.
Yeah. Everybody has good days. Everybody has bad days.
Sure.
I think at every level, you know, whether someone's, you know, kind of poor or if someone's very rich, and it all depends on someone's perspective as well and how they see life. I think, you know, somebody could be very rich and they could be very sad, or somebody could be very poor and they could be very happy. But at this point in life, I don't see a problem in having a very nice amount of money to live on.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most misunderstood aspect of being a networker and red carpet host?
Well, I don't know what it would be. So my job doesn't exist. Like there's nobody who really does what I do. So most people who would do a red carpet hosting are going to work for some kind of either they're going to work for some website, or they're going to work for some channel, like television channel or something like that. I wasn't doing that. I actually showed up just so that I could recruit BDMC, and then I do red carpet interviews for whoever wanted them. Like I would give my interviews to Maximo TV or ABC or whoever would happen to be there. I was just better at doing interviews than they were. And so, and because it wasn't just because I was a good interviewer, but I knew all the people attending, especially the Instagram models or any of the other models, the Playboy models, whatever. They just felt more comfortable talking to me than they felt talking to like whoever was trying to interview them from, you know, Entertainment Tonight or whatever. So I did this for years, and it was really funny because one of the, probably say the most misunderstood thing is when people would see my life from the outside looking in, they saw, you know, big guy, lots of girls, I'm in pretty decent shape, and they just think that I'm just kind of like this brute. And then probably the fact that I was in the U.S. military probably leads to that conclusion. And then later on, when they hear me, going on, they see me going on, different podcasts, financial podcasts, talking about stock option arbitrage and bond arbitrage, and I start talking about selling premium and stuff like that. And then I go on another show and I start talking about quantum mechanics and astrophysics, and then another show talking about evolutionary psychology. I think a lot of people are taken back by it because I think their life is a lot simpler if someone like me is dumb and if someone like me is unhappy. And if they find out that someone like me who lives the life that I choose to live, that someone like me is not only happy, but like not uneducated, I think it's more dissatisfying their narrative. And so they don't like it very much. So that's that. If you want to say misunderstanding, I think it's really easy for people to put people in different categories. Like, for instance, I'm racially ambiguous. So if you don't know what I am, then there's one category you can't put me in, right? I'm from Texas and I was in the military, but I'm not like an alt-right conservative. So there's another category you can't put me in, right? I do red pill content, but I don't hate women, and I actually think men and women can be friends. So there's another area you can't, box you can't stuff me into. And I think for a lot of people, that's confusing. They want things to be very simple. And when they meet me, they kind of come up with a simple explanation for my existence. And then it doesn't seem to match reality. And for some people, it's cool. And a lot of people, it makes them very frustrated.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because a lot of people, when they see you, I think what they want to do is they just, well, not a lot of people, but depending on who it is, they might want to put you in a certain box, put somebody in a certain box, depending on what they do. Like, for instance, the podcast that I'm doing right now, I have all different kinds of people on. I don't really limit it to one specific type of person I want to talk to. Like, I'll ask all different kinds of people that I'm interested in talking with on, and we'll see how it goes. Like, there's a lot of people that I like, who I'm friends with, who are musicians, so I'll have them on, and that's the kind of person that's I like talking with. But I like a lot of what you have to say, and I think that it's really cool that you talk with such a diverse amount of people, and I think that allows you to grow as a person as well and become more dynamic as you get older.
Studying for every guest has been like a master's degree level of information I've had to do. I just finished recording episode 98 today. Was it 98 or 90? Yeah, 98 today. I try to do between 4 and 10 hours of research on each guest. And I'd say from doing that, I've learned so much, especially when it comes to like building funnels, real estate, when it comes to copywriting, leading a sales team, or when it comes to evolutionary psychology, or how to go viral on YouTube. Just having these people on my podcast is pretty incredible. It's really been worth it. It's very much like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, where Carnegie told him, I'm gonna introduce you to these people so you can interview them, but I'm not going to pay you any money. That's what it feels like to me. Just having the knowledge is definitely worth it.
What's one of the most profound and transformative experiences you've had in your life? What's one of them?
Now there's so many, man. Like I will tell you, just they're the big ones, like being over Iraq and plane catching on fire one time, or my dad passing away from a drunk driver, or
Tell me about the plane catching on fire. It sounds very fast.
Yeah. About 40. We go over the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. We go into Iraq. About 45 minutes into Iraq, and I remember as soon as we crossed in, I wanted to do a pose in front of the American flag with my horns up, because at UT Austin, I was going to send it back to the university. It's like, hey, because I just another UT Austin grad deploys to Iraq, and they would probably put it in the newspaper. So I go to take a picture, go back, sit in the chair, and I'm a navigator, and I don't have a lot of navigation to do because we're leaving from Rota, Spain, and we're landing in not Kuwait, we're landing in UAE, Abu Dhabi.
Gotcha.
And so we're going to go through Iraq on the way there, and all of a sudden one of the computers catches on fire. I'm flying a 1957, 58, 59 model KC-135 Stratotanker. I'm a navigator, so I'm behind the co-pilot.
Okay.
And when that happens, so when you maintain a certain airspeed, the vertical stabilizer, the horizontal stabilizer, it has to maintain a certain pitch in order to keep the aircraft at a certain altitude. If you kick off the autopilot, then the horizontal stabilizer will go back to neutral. And when it does so, if you're flying too fast, you're going to pitch up. And if you're flying too slow, you're just going to pitch down. Well, it did so. It kicked off, and then the plane dropped like 400 feet. And then you could smell the smoke in the cockpit, but you couldn't see any fire. And so I put my mask on, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, and I'm yelling at the pilot. I'm like, his name Tate Whitener. He's a major. I said, Tate, bro, like, I was like, what the fuck just happened, or something like that. Generally, most second lieutenants or first lieutenants don't say, hey, major, what the fuck just happened? That's generally not good etiquette in the cockpit. I'm not saying it never happens, but it's probably not something I should do. And then he looks back at me. One of the crews, there was a secondary crew sleeping in the cockpit, not the cockpit, in the cargo area.
Gotcha.
They get up, they come in there, and the pilot for their crew climbs down into the hellhole. There's a place where you can actually go down and physically see the nose gear. You can climb down underneath, and all the computers, the circuitry is down in there, super loud. It's freezing cold down there. He goes down there and he takes a fire extinguisher, puts it out, comes back up, and the rest of the crew's laughing at me because there are fires in these aircraft all the time. And there were 4 other fires like while I was flying in my career. But for me, it was just like, no one told me about there's going to be fires in the cockpit all the time in your 60-year-old airplane. And so I remember just freaking out. And then from that point on, I just remember, I'll tell you another transformative experience. There was one time where, again, the horizontal stabilizer, we were landing at McChord Air Force Base. It was called McChord back then. It's called McChord Joint Air Base or some Tacoma Joint. I forgot what it's called now, but we're coming to land, and it was another major who was the co-pilot. He's pulling the yoke all the way back to his chest, and he can't get the nose to pitch up. Ooh. And so that's really bad because you're going to end up landing on the nose gear. And if the nose sounds very dangerous. Yeah. If a nose gear collapses on an airplane that has 60,000 pounds of JP8 in it, you're going to all, go up in the good thing, you're going to die quickly. At least on the bright side, you're going to die quickly. Right. Yeah. And we didn't pitch the nose. We weren't able to pitch the nose up. Now, when we landed it, he pulled that thing all the way back, and we did land on, I think, on all 3 gear at the same time. But I just remember coming in for the landing, just very much accepting the fact that we're probably going to die. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, like I'm a first lieutenant at this point. I'm not a captain. I have less than 100 hours flying at this point. And so over time, flying these 60-year-old airplanes, you just realize the aircraft just keeps putting you in peril over and over again, and you're just used to it because that's what your government has asked you to do, and you just do it. Yeah. And I only know one crew that's died. There was only one crew, and it was just after I got out that actually they died on approach. The plane crashed, but other than that, we never had anybody die. And so, it's just one of these things where you're just like on the line, but not quite over the line. And right now, it's almost a 70-year-old aircraft, and people are still flying KC-135s. The first KC-135 rolled off the assembly line in 1957, and they're still flying about 500 of them today. So that's it. That's that was a transformative experience for me. But for me, why was it a transformative experience is because it was just one of these things where, like, I was in full acceptance. I had made a decision to serve my country, and whatever happened.
I worked in the medical field for a while, and I worked on a COVID floor, and so I took care of patients that were very sick, and I saw a lot of like really crazy things during that time, and I saved a lot of lives, but I did see a few people pass, and it was, I think, that was, it gave me a lot of thoughts deep into humanity and the way people think and the way people are. And what people care about, and how different people interact with others. You're an avid book reader. What book are you currently reading?
I'm rereading The Evolution of Desire by David Buss. I'm going through it the second time. There's so much. You could read that book 50 times, and there's just so much to take out of it. And then after I'm done with that, it's Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. I just finished $100 Million Leads. I'm reading The Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. I just finished Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Then after that is Atomic Habits by James Clear, and then Good to Great by Jim Collins.
And I'm going to put all of your links to all your sites in the bio. Everything's down below. Everybody check out MOA. It's the best program in the universe, in the whole world. Check it out. I had a great time talking with you, and I'd like to talk to you soon, my friend.
Talk to you soon, Johnny. Take care.